Welcome, beautiful souls. I'm Susie, Soul Alchemist, and this week's reading, is called The Pattern Behind Your Money Fears. So we're going to look at what's been shaping your sense of safety, confidence, and trust, and why certain fears or doubts keep resurfacing, especially around money and self-belief. As I shuffle the cards, I'm asking the Akashic field to show us the deeper pattern that is showing up behind this and where it began. Always really, really important. And what's ready to shift now so that you can move forwards with more clarity and self-trust. So, let's see what cards are going to come out. Okay, so we have the first card. Okay, second card. Third and fourth cards. Okay, so we've got a bonus card again today. So the first card that we have is the father wound. Now, the father wound is a deep wounding, and it's something that so many of us carry. It's really about our safety, our support. It's about authority. It's about approval. Maybe you learn early that love and security had conditions, or maybe you had to carry the responsibility of almost like being the father figure or carrying responsibility way too young. It's really about, the fear of getting it wrong or not being enough. And it's looking outside of ourselves for permission or validation. The father wound is a really deep wounding that shows us that perhaps authority shouldn't be trusted. So you may be a bit of a rebel and go against authority, or maybe you're just too much in your masculine energy and you're doing all of the time rather than being, right? When we're doing, we're in that energy of hustle and grind. So the father wound is really asking you to look at safety, support, authority, and approval at the highest point. And perhaps ask yourself the question, where did you learn that safety wasn't guaranteed, or that you had to give a part of yourself in order for approval or safety? So at the root of this, we are talking about safety, security, support, and perhaps, going against authority or not being able to trust authority. Right, that's really, really important, and that's going to have a massive impact on your money, right? If you feel that you have to hustle and grind, if you feel that money safety isn't guaranteed, or you were told by a father or a father figure that you have to work hard for money, right? Anytime that you feel you want to go on holiday, take a rest, or anything like that, you're going to have this energy that says, well, if I don't hustle and grind, then I'm not going to have security. I'm not going to have money coming in for me. So like I say, the father wound is a deep wounding, and it is worth looking at your relationship with your father and your father figure, or your father figure, and look at, the beliefs that came down from that, the way your relationship works. Did you have to give something in order for return? So looking at the father figure and the father wound is going to be really important in helping you to move forwards and change your perhaps perception around money. Money is a masculine energy, right? So it is really linked to the father wound. Society tells us that, men are supposed to support the family and all of those things. So if you've got that energy, if you're holding on to that energy that it's your job to do all of this, that's part of the father wounding. Okay, so next we have money fears. Now, money fears are the fears, again, that are linked to survival, safety, pressure, stress, all of those different energies. So this is a time to really start looking at the fears that you have around money, right? These can be beliefs that are passed down from your ancestors, from your family. They can be beliefs from society as well. They can be fears passed down through your ancestry. So fears of not having enough, fears of not being enough, fear that money is going to run out. So this is really about scarcity that has been inherited and fears that have been inherited from your ancestors. These are not things that you have chosen, but they are in your energy field. They are in your nervous system and your DNA because they have been passed down to you. So really take the time to look at your money fears. So there could be fear of success, fear of failure, not being enough, fear that if you became successful, everybody's going to want something from you, or fears that security is not going to bring you, money is not going to bring you security. There are so many different things. So fear of losing control, right? Or maybe even fear of stability. That's quite a big one. Like, we think that money is going to bring us freedom, stability, and all of those things. And sometimes the way we're wired, we have that fear of stability because we think that perhaps life could become boring, or we might lose friends if we have lots of money, or we might attract the wrong people. So really do take the time to look at money fears. So this card is really asking you to look at whose fears you are still carrying around money. When we have an awareness of the fears that we are holding on to, this is the start of healing and releasing them. Awareness is so powerful in making that change. So next we have intuition. So intuition is really about your intuition. We are all intuitive. It is about trusting it. It's about self-trust. So the more that you work with your intuition, the more that you trust your intuition, the more that you are going to be able to start moving things forwards, right? This card is really coming forwards and saying, you know the answers to the questions that you are asking yourself, but you don't trust them, right? You're not trusting that you know best for yourself, for your journey, for healing, for moving forwards, for whatever that may be. So, maybe you have a fear of consequences if you trust your intuition. So, maybe like a fear of judgment and what other people think of you if you trust your intuition, or you let your spiritual gifts come forwards. Or maybe you feel that if you trust yourself, if you trust your intuition, that things could go in a downward spiral. And this card is really coming forward to tell you to trust your intuition, right? You have intuition for a reason. And one of the most important things with intuition is that when you're working with your intuition, you're in the present moment, right? You're not in the past and you're not in the future. Yes, this is past stuff that needs to be looked at and to gain awareness on, but doing that in the present moment is going to be far more powerful than if you're in the past, dealing with the different issues and why it came up, where it came up, all of those things. We want to do that from this present moment so that we can start to remove things. So this is really telling you to trust yourself, not other people, right? We all have our own opinions. We have our own judgments. We have our own thoughts and ideas, right? Intuition is asking you to trust your own thoughts, your own ideas, and your own beliefs, right? We can create our own beliefs, right? Things that have been passed down to you that perhaps have come down from family or society or wherever they've come from doesn't mean that they're true, right? So using your intuition and creating your own beliefs can make a massive impact, right? If you change your beliefs, you're going to change what you see at the other side. So intuition is really telling you that guidance is already there. It's just about tapping in and trusting that guidance to help move you forwards, right? To give you the answers that you seek. We all, have different questions, right? We're intuitive beings. And the answers that we seek are already inside of us. So by tapping into your intuition, you're going to be able to understand what you have kept or learned or are holding on to from the father wound, but also, these money fears, beliefs, and patterns that you are holding on to, so that you can change them so that they're more in alignment with you. Right? Beliefs that have been passed down to our families may have been true for them in that moment, but they're not true for you. So it's important to change that. So the bonus card for today is the Akashic Records. So this again is telling you that this pattern is old. It's either ancestral or it's karmic. So it has come down through the male line, right? Through your father. It's also telling you that, of course, you didn't create it because it's come down through that paternal line. You didn't create the pattern, but it's time for you to end it. You're not here to repeat it. You are here to be the change maker. You are here to be the miracle that your ancestors have been waiting for. You're here to change the pattern. When we work with the Akashic Records, we are not only healing, clearing, remembering for ourselves, but we're doing that for 7 generations behind us and 7 generations to come. So by working with the Akashic Records, you're clearing those money beliefs, those fears and those patterns that have been passed down to the generations, but you're clearing it for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, right? You are the person that your ancestors have been waiting for, so that you can clear this pattern and this energy. And like I said earlier, you're just having that awareness is the first step in breaking that loop, in breaking that cycle or that pattern or that fear or that belief. Right? When you know what it is that you're holding on to, the awareness is going to start to clear that for you, right? Message from the Akashic Records is that this lifetime you're here to be sovereign, right? You're here to trust yourself, and I think that's why intuition has come up. It's about trusting yourself, believing in yourself, believing that you are enough, creating your own safety, security, stability, and all of those things. And working with the Akashic Records is going to be really powerful in helping you to do that, to create that change, to release that pattern, and to remember the sovereign being that you really are. So this reading is very much about this pattern ends with me, okay? And that's really, really important. So importantly, right, this isn't about fixing yourself. It's about understanding where these patterns came from, so you can choose differently, right? You can choose differently for your family. You can heal what past generations have been through and create a better life for the generations to come. So a quick question for you if you'd like to journal. So what would change if I trusted myself fully from this point forward? So I'd love to know in the comments how this reading resonated with you, if one particular card stood out to you. And please do like, share, follow, subscribe, and share this reading with anyone that would benefit from it. And I will link the deck in the comments. Have an amazing week, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Ciao for now.